Welcome once again to the stage. I'm Dr. Kechi Ogwago, your guide on this journey of discovery. You will agree with me from the previous episodes that we have indeed, together with delight, uncovered wonderful hidden treasures that have always existed in our country, but many times we don't seem to notice or we don't know about them. I am particularly excited about today's show. It's one that is dear to my heart, and it's one that I feel is so important to the future of this, our beloved country, because the role they play in our development, in our future, is so critical. I am talking about the private sector. Without a thriving private sector, our economy will never fully develop. Jobs will not be created. It is the private sector that provides jobs. We have said that over and over again. But particularly indigenous private sector. As a Nigerian, I'm fiercely proud of that area. And what I have brought into the studio for you today is a remarkable example of a private sector that is indigenous and that is thriving and continues to thrive. I have been privileged to meet with them, to work with them, to associate with them, and I am profoundly respectful of what this particular company does. And they are here today, at least from my perspective, to portray for you what all our companies in this country should be striving to be doing, to emulate, to grow our country. Stay with me. When we come back in the next segment, I will unveil this hidden treasure to you. Welcome back, and thank you for having stayed with us. So who do we have? I'm almost tempted to delay it a bit long and keep you further in suspense. But my guest is looking at me and saying, this wasn't the deal. This wasn't the deal. I have no other than Seplat Petroleum Development Company, PLC, with me here in the studio. And let me tell you, I hit jackpot. Not only do I have Seplat, I have the Chief Executive Officer of Seplat sitting here with me. It's no mean feat to get somebody as busy as this to come and give you his or her time. But I think it is the example of what I talked about. A company that is incredibly busy, incredibly successful, but so reachable. It's amazing, so reachable. Mr. Roger Brown, the CEO, you're welcome to the stage.
Well, thank you. It's a pleasure to be here, and what a wonderful welcome. So thank you again, and it's good to be. We've always got time to spend talking about ourselves and everything else. So yes, we're busy, but not too busy to come and spend some time with you. So it's a pleasure.
Thank you. But I do appreciate it because in spite of everything you say, it's not easy. Let me say to the audience that this is going to be the first part of a 3-part series. But trust me, this part is so crucial. Today we're going to listen to Roger. We agreed before the show started that I can call him RB. And that when I do that, I'm best friends, right?
Yep, correct.
Welcome. I'm sure people look at you. I'm going to ask you about yourself. But I did a little homework.
Mm-hmm.
And I asked, Mr. Roger Brown, new CEO, obviously not my color. And I was told, because I know you won't want to say this yourself, I'm going to say it, that he's a remarkable man. One, strangely enough, that loves Nigeria very much.
Mm-hmm.
that has taken time to be part of the development, not just of Seplat, but also a keen interest in us as a country, that has shown passion and dedication to Seplat. And that when it came for a transition, a time for a new vision for Seplat, that it was almost, you were an almost unanimous choice. That is praise indeed.
Yes.
So welcome. We're proud to have you. We're proud to stand behind you as the new face of Seplat. Please tell us a bit about Seplat. Tell us a bit about yourself.
Thank you very much. What a wonderful introduction. It's very kind of you. You know, so let me just talk about Seplat and what does Seplat really stand for? What is it? It's something, and let me talk about from my perspective. Let me try to answer two at the same time.
Okay.
From my perspective.
I made it tough, did I?
Because what attracted me to Seplat? What did I see in Seplat that was unique, was wonderful, and just which got under my skin and wanted me to join the company, right? And really, it's what it's all about. It's genesis of what is the essence of the company. It's really what should have happened a long time ago. And you know, I obviously based out of the UK, but was coming to Nigeria. I've been coming to Nigeria now for 15 years. I'm pretty good with it, although I can't eat pepper soup. It's still too spicy.
For you.
So I have to get there at some point. But coming to Nigeria all those years ago, when you start to understand it, it does get under your skin, and it's really seen when I was looking at it. I was saying, why are there not more Nigerian companies owning assets and developing in this country? When I go around the world, I see it elsewhere, and why is it not here? And I'm glad over the years of being here, it's now happened. It's starting to really get some real momentum. And in Seplat, 10 years ago when it was founded, it was one of the first companies to buy assets from Shell.
Okay.
And I think in the early days, no one would believe how this company that didn't exist could actually raise the capital and be able to buy those assets. And Seplat did 10 years ago. We have our 10-year anniversary this year, so we're still young, but it's a milestone in terms of what we've developed. And we achieved it, and we built it. And why were we successful? And I think it's what is behind Seplat.
Okay.
You know, in it, and it's about it's real straplines value.
Okay.
It's value for all stakeholders. It's integrity, and integrity is the backbone of any company, any organization. It's essential. Integrity is key, and partnership.
Value, integrity,
partnership, and it's how we interact with our partners. And we share the vision, we share the wealth, we share the development, and really it's indigenization of Nigeria, particularly in the oil sector. It wasn't really that prevalent. And so Seplat was able to build up, and I'm glad a lot of others have followed, and a lot more indigenous companies exist 10 years on than they did when we first started. So Seplat was about doing everything properly. Doing everything to the highest standard you'd find anywhere in the world, and doing it as Nigerians. Of course, a non-Nigerian saying this, but it really is.
Yeah, but makes it even more important that you can see us from outside and you can say it with candidly.
And it's a confidence. You know, Nigerians do things well, very smart. Nigerians, very smart on a global context, capable on a global context, and can do things and grow things on a global context. But it's got to start somewhere.
Yeah.
And that's what really was about here is building the start, building more and more companies, with more and more capacity development in country, and we'd get bigger and bigger and bigger, and then there would be more of a sort of branching outside Nigeria. And that's going to happen, no doubt about it. You see it with Dangote and other big industries. You're seeing it becoming Pan-African. The next step is to branch outside and become bigger. Not saying that Seplat would necessarily go outside Africa, but it may well go outside Nigeria at some point in the future.
No, you will be global.
But
we're wishing that for you, yeah.
But there's a lot of stuff we can do here
in
this country. This country has massive opportunity. It is, when I look at it, there's a population of 200 million people that has the average age of 18 years old. Just think about that.
Yeah, absolutely.
That means that over half the people are below the age of 18, if you do it mathematically. That is incredible. And if that population grows as expected to, going from 200 to 400, the next 200 million people in the next 30 years is going to drop the average age lower. So this is about youth. This is about children, youth, development, and giving a life for these people who are coming to the planet in Nigeria. And this is huge. It's a huge opportunity.
I think you read my script somewhere. Because this is the tune we've been singing on this program, where for us, for instance, in Conversations for Change, we actually consider our youth up to 40. And that is approximately 80% of the population of this country.
Yeah.
You have talked about 18 being 50. When you make it higher, it becomes 80. That's a huge proportion.
It is, and they need everything. They need energy, they need food, they need healthcare, education.
Absolutely.
And we all have our place to play. We've all got our part to play. And Seplat really prides itself in being at the centre of driving it in its own way. It can do it, obviously can't do it across the entire country.
Yeah.
But whatever we go after, we really want to look at the maximum impact we can do with it. Whatever development programs we look at, we want to hit as many people as possible with the benefits.
That's music to my ears. We'll hold it there. When we come back, I'm going to ask you more specifically how Seplat is beginning to do that. Stay with us. We'll be back. Welcome back. It's been so wonderful. We've listened to Mr. Roger Brown, to RB, and I've been personally enthralled. When we broke up for the intermission, you were talking about making that impact, Please tell us a bit more. What is Seplat doing? I mean, you've just talked about 10 years recently that you celebrated. It's an amazingly short space of time, and yet you've accomplished so much. Well done. Now you're on the brink of a new decade for the company. You have new visions. But before you tell us, as CEO, what those new visions are, please tell us about the impact you're already making.
Yes, well, I mean, in 10 years, we've been busy, I'm glad to say, and we've built out, we started with 3 assets. We've built out now over 6. We have developed gas plants, we've built pipelines, we've developed in the various communities and areas that we operate, and we couldn't have done that without a capacity development in the areas we operate. And that's what we've seen over the last 10 years is that community contractor who goes from doing the simplest things initially into building its capacity to build pipelines, to do infrastructure work and everything else, and really start to build out into quite big construction companies, support companies, contractors, etc. So that's one area is when you build that out in the various areas that we operate, then you're really getting a buzz. There's a buzz in the area. There's wealth being created in the area.
And hands-on experience.
And hands-on experience. So then allows the contractors to go and do work elsewhere in the country.
Absolutely.
That's a big one. Then the other thing is in the areas in terms of the development projects, from roads to schools to hospitals, etc. But we've done a couple of things that we're so proud of as a company, right? So we have a number of programs. All our programs have got names, that sort of buzzy names. So we've got I Can See, and I can see, right? Obviously, And I Can See program is being something that we're very proud of, that we've tested, I think, over 80,000 on the way to 100,000 people.
Wow.
For cataracts, etc.
As a doctor, I love that. Well done.
Yeah, and actually our chairman's a medical doctor. You're probably very familiar with that.
I know. I'm going to catch him yet. Yes, I know.
So we've given out, I don't know, 35,000 reading glasses, and we've done, I think, almost 3,000 to 4,000 cataract operations. That's impact straight away. We've done I'll tell you one program that we absolutely love is the Pearls School Quiz program.
What's that about?
Which is something we started, I think, 9 years ago. We've gone through 9 finals, and it's basically aimed at school children, and it's a quiz. And you enroll with us, you then form a team, and then quiz, and then eventually there's a winner of it. And you have never seen anything more competitive in your life. It is fantastic. And we put, I think, 36,000 school children through that, and we're certainly heading our way. Our target is 50,000 and beyond.
Wow.
So every year it gets more and more competitive, and we look to build out in the other states that we operate in. So that's a fantastic program. We've got Safe Motherhood. I mean, I could talk to you all day if I could in terms of stuff we're doing.
We want to listen to a great deal of it. So later we're going to hear more about the details of those, because they are really truly wonderful.
But it's great. So it's important to do it. And why do we do it? And the reason being is because we want to be part of where we operate. You know, sort of going in and doing a drill site with nothing else around it is not the way to do it. So you see communities building up around where we operate, and then you can see growth in the areas.
And young people supported within the areas where you operate.
And it's critical, and particularly when you have such a big growing population, that you need to see development, education, healthcare, food for people, and growing into, and building out and sort of growing, just us growing with the various communities. It's important to do that.
So that it's a kind of a bond, isn't it?
Yes.
That is forged between you and your community, in full recognition of the fact that it is because of the resource within the community that your company is working and making a profit, but also that giving back that is so important.
Yeah.
That helps to build them up. I usually say, particularly the young people who are the futures, of our country. That is excellent. And because I am truly, truly impressed, and think our audience needs to know more, I am making a date with Seplat where we will discuss in greater detail about those aspects of it. But let me ask you to please tell me a little. Now, as the new CEO, what do you see as your new strategic vision? What are those things you want to do that's hot on your mind to move? Like I said, I am prophesying that Seplat will be global. You will just not be. We will be proud of you as Nigerians, but you will be global. You will reach the ends of the world. Tell us about what's coming.
Okay. Well, look, for an energy company like us, the pressures globally on carbon reduction is really key today. And you see what's happening. Of course, COVID has impacted oil price. But I think going into the future, as the world starts to look at carbon zero, carbon neutral to carbon zero, a home for our oil is key going forward. And I think long term, I think the oil eventually will stop being exported and actually be utilised in countries for growth in countries. So that's one area. So what we're looking at is energy transition. Okay. But energy transition with a Nigerian context. And that's the critical time for us to grow in the oil business.
I was going to ask that. What do you think the transition time would be like?
I'd say, in terms of growing the oil business, there's plenty of demand for, at least 10, 20 years plus, okay? And probably even more. We can't predict the future, but probably more into that as the population grows. Gas Nigeria is a gas providence. Everyone talks about oil, and we always talk about oil. Yeah. There's more gas here than there is oil.
Really?
Yes.
Really? I didn't know that.
Yeah. And that gas is a cleaner. The world has shown that gas is a fantastic transition fuel. Okay, so that, and then renewable energy. I'd say we'll be moving that in within the next 5 to 10 years for sure. I can't say exactly when. I don't want to give away too much of the strategy, but we're certainly looking at it quite heavily.
Okay, I wouldn't ask any more then, since you don't want to give away too much of the strategy. But let me say, you were talking about the many wonderful things you're already doing that impact young people. And I think about the recent youth unrest in this country. And to me, it makes it even more urgent that people like you and humbly us do more, because there's so much need that young people be empowered and supported. What do you think about it? What is your view about the way to respond to that urgent need that exists?
I think we absolutely have to, and we've got to lay down an infrastructure that the youth needs. Okay, we will listen to them, because with social media these days, when I was growing up, and perhaps you growing up, social media didn't exist.
A long time ago.
Well, me too as well. But social media didn't exist. Now social media happens all around the world. Things are instantaneous, and the young population have got a voice. We've got to listen to that voice. We've got to listen to them, what they need and demand. And in this country, definitely in Nigeria, we need infrastructure. We need roads, schools, I mean, everything. We need to develop that. We shouldn't be importing food. We should be growing food here. We shouldn't be, having all these potholes everywhere. We should build proper roads. Okay. We should build proper schools and education, which, I think there are good universities here, no doubt about it, but we need more, because the population is growing dramatically.
We need them better equipped, their capacity built.
Yeah. And the big thing is employment. So, if you're sitting around not doing anything, you're going to get frustrated. If you start to then build on a micro basis, and that's often where it's done very effectively around the world, where the micro communities build. So, the 1 or 2 employee companies then grow and grow and grow, and it creates an ecosystem in itself, and it gets more and more employment, and it builds out. And that is what's needed. The private sector growth plan is critical to actually getting employment for these people. So people are prepared to work. We need to give them jobs.
This is music to my heart. And we're going to talk about, to the audience, we're going to talk about this a bit more, because Seplat Petroleum, in collaboration with Conversations for Change, is already doing great work in that area. Many of the young entrepreneurs that have been showcased on this program were trained, their capacity built, they were set up with the support of Seplat Petroleum. We will tell you a bit more. We take a very last break, and when we come back, we'll wind up, and Albi will give us his last bits of wisdom. Welcome back to this really, really exciting program. I mean, for me, I feel sometimes I'm looking at Albi talking, and I'm amazed. I'm amazed. Thank you so much. You've shared so much wisdom. In the last segment, we mentioned briefly about the fact that actually Seplat Petroleum has been collaborating with Conversations for Change, and has in fact funded a batch of the young entrepreneurs who have now set up their businesses and are doing extremely well. It's a wonderful initiative, one we intend to continue. Tell us a little about that from your perspective, about what Seplat is doing that would also be additional support for young entrepreneurs like these ones.
It's a micro. It'll build up an industry of entrepreneurs, self-employed, who will give employment. What they need is affordable energy and cheap, environmentally friendly energy.
So many of them are running generators at the moment.
And that's just not affordable long term. And what we want to be able to do is ultimately, obviously, develop these C4C, but also in a very selfish way, we want to supply our gas into those power, those small companies and everything else, and generating affordable energy. And that's what's critical, that's what's going to be needed. We shouldn't be importing diesel. Seplat is one of the biggest gas players in country.
Okay.
We would love our gas molecules to ultimately expand and grow and go into these smaller scale businesses. And they should be being fed off a gas generated power. It will be much more efficient and more cost effective for them. And then they can spend the money and reinvesting. Instead of spending all the money on expensive electricity, they should be taking that money and expending it in the growth of the company.
You know, for me, it's like a light bulb just turned on. What you're actually saying is that in place of diesel and petrol and perhaps a generator, electricity that powers their business, there can be the gas alternative, right?
Yeah.
And which will be considerably cheaper. Is that what you're saying?
It's considerably cheaper and it's narrow based.
Okay.
So because we're importing diesel in dollars.
Okay.
Gas is in country, and the gas is narrow, and it's about 25% of the cost of diesel generated power.
How long? When will this, be possible? How soon?
It's happening today. So what we'd like to see is a lot more business parks growing. I think that is a very good future for all the governors and the states. They should be encouraging these industrial business parks where you get the small scale entrepreneurs that set up their small scale businesses, and then what we can then do is do a gas supply into that business park. And
we shall be calling on you.
Look forward to it.
That is extremely exciting. We shall be calling on you on that.
Thank you.
But I'm going to take you up once more. I'm going to say, turn to our audience. You're a remarkable man, even if I say so. I'm not saying it because you're here. You've braved our culture. You're a brilliant, determined, hardworking human being. You are here with a passion and dedication, but you're a CEO and it takes a lot to be that. Can you turn to our audience and tell them, in your mind, what are the important things that have gotten you to where you are today?
I think ultimately you've got to believe in yourself. You've got to trust yourself, you've got to believe in yourself, and you'll need that belief because there's bumps in the road. It's never smooth, but you've got to ultimately believe in yourself, trust in your capabilities, build your skills, and I think being humble, certainly for me, always approaching things with, I can learn the situation. Every day I can learn. I don't know everything. Even today, as a CEO of a company, every day I want to learn more. I want to get more and more skills. And you have to back yourself and believe in yourself to be able to do that. So never give up. We all should learn until our dying day on the planet, is my view. It's critical. And it's by the way, it's a real proud day of my life when I was awarded CEO of Seplat. It's a fantastic company. Nigeria is a fantastic country with lots of capability, lots of future, and I'm quite enthused about it. But for anyone who's watching this, believe in yourself, follow your goals, and learn every day.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. Learn every day. When you fall, you pick yourself up, right?
Yeah.
And keep going. I want to thank Albie once again for being with us. It's a real pleasure. Your words of wisdom are so much appreciated. Seplat as a company is so much appreciated. And for the young entrepreneurs, we jointly train and build capacity and set up. Our word to them is that they're mini Seplats. Someday they will grow to be entrepreneurial giants like you. Thank you for being with us. Thank you to the audience for having stayed with us. It's been a wonderful show. We've learnt a lot. The private sector is such an important part of our country, of our world. This is the way to go.